Did you know, cerebral infarction, a seemingly sudden serious disease, has actually been brewing quietly. It does not smash down suddenly without warning, but is like an enemy lurking for many years, laying out a dangerous chess game bit by bit in your defenseless life. Especially your fingers may have sounded the alarm a long time ago, but you just didn't take it seriously. Many people think that cerebral infarction is a matter of a moment, or the mouth is crooked, the eyes are slanted, or the speech is unclear, the walking is unstable, and these obvious symptoms often appear, and the golden intervention period has been missed. In fact, before the real stroke comes, the body has already reminded you through some small changes, especially our fingers, the most easily overlooked place. Many hypertensive patients will have a similar common phenomenon a few days or even weeks before the onset of cerebral infarction or cerebral hemorrhage, abnormal fingers. It's not pain, it's not swelling, but the three minor symptoms that you think are no big deal, which are often mistaken for old cold legs, poor blood circulation and tiredness. As a result, a slight release will cause a disaster. At this point, many people will ask, how can fingers be related to cerebral infarction? In fact, the biggest culprit behind this is high blood pressure. High blood pressure is a silent killer. It is not as easy to cause alarm as fever and cough, but it can quietly break your blood vessels. It makes blood vessels hard and narrow, it increases blood viscosity and accelerates plaque formation. Once blood pressure fluctuates violently, blockages and breaks. Cerebral infarction and cerebral hemorrhage are like matches buried on landmines, which will explode with a light touch. So, don't think that everything will be fine if you control the numbers. The real danger of high blood pressure is that when you think you are still fine, you've already started. Today, our health class will talk about people with high blood pressure. Once these three abnormalities appear in their fingers, you must be careful of the arrival of cerebral infarction. 1. High blood pressure is the black hand behind cerebral infarction and cerebral hemorrhage. If we talk about the number one pusher of cerebral infarction and cerebral hemorrhage, it must be high blood pressure. This chronic killer hides silently in your body while quietly wreaking havoc. You don't feel it, but it renovates your blood vessels. What's the result? Either it's blocked or it explodes. Either it's a cerebral infarction or a cerebral hemorrhage. Let's talk about some basic knowledge first. What is high blood pressure? To put it bluntly, it means that blood pressure is higher than normal for a long time. Just like the water pressure in the water pipes at home is too high. After a long time, the pipe wall will wear, hardening, or even bursting. In the same way, high blood pressure can tear the blood vessels. The normal blood pressure of a normal person is about 1/080 mmHg adults. If you exceed 1/090 mmHg for a long time, the doctor will remind you, pay attention. You have high blood pressure. But the problem is that most people, even if their blood pressure is high, don't have any particularly obvious discomfort. At most, they feel a little dizzy, their shoulders are a little tight, and when they are tired, they think they haven't rested well, because it doesn't hurt or itch. Many people don't take it seriously at all. So, high blood pressure is like a time bomb, slowly burying mines in the body. How does high blood pressure break down your blood vessels step by step? Step 1. Make blood vessels hard. Long-term high pressure impacts the inner wall of blood vessels, just like using a high-pressure water gun to wash the cement floor. After a long time, the ground will peel and crack. Similarly, blood vessels will slowly calcify and lose elasticity. Blood vessels that were originally as soft as rubber hoses would become hard and brittle. Step 2. Make blood vessels narrower. High blood pressure will also damage the endothelium of blood vessels, and small blood clots and fatty plaques will take the opportunity to stick to them. Over time, atherosclerosis will form, that is, what we often call blood vessel blockage. Just like a pipe full of scales, a large water pressure will easily block it completely. Step 3. Make blood vessels explode suddenly. If the blood vessels are already hard and blocked, coupled with a certain blood pressure surge such as emotional excitement, sudden weather changes, or intense exercise, the blood vessels can't stand the momentum and bang will crack. Brain hemorrhage happens just like this. What's more serious is that once the blood vessels are blocked in the brain, it is cerebral infarction. Once the blood vessels rupture in the brain, it is cerebral hemorrhage. Both of these are considered strokes, which can cause hemiplegia and slurred speech in mild cases, or bedridden or even death in severe cases. How serious is high blood pressure? Data tells you the truth. According to the China Stroke Prevention and Control Report, there are about 3 million new stroke patients in my country each year, of which nearly 70% are hypertensive. In other words, at least 7 out of every 10 people with strokes have high blood pressure. This is not alarmist. Are there such examples around us? My father's high blood pressure is usually not taken care of. A few days ago, he got angry while playing mahjong and had a cerebral hemorrhage. He is still lying in the hospital. A neighbor of mine is only 50 years old. Suddenly, half of his body could not move. The doctor checked and found that it was a cerebral infarction caused by high blood pressure. He didn't take it seriously at all. These are not accidental, but the result of long-term latent plus sudden outbreak of high blood pressure. 3 dangerous moments that require special attention. Seasonal transition, especially during the transition from spring to autumn and the cold snap in winter. The human body's blood vessels contract quickly and blood pressure fluctuates easily. Many people suffer from cerebral infarction and cerebral hemorrhage at this time, when emotions fluctuate greatly. Angry, excited, sad. These emotions will excite the sympathetic nerves and blood pressure will soar instantly. Some people had an accident a few minutes after a quarrel with others. When you wake up in the morning, when you just get up, your blood pressure will rise. If you suddenly exert force, defecating, coughing, or wash your face with cold water at this time, it is also easy to cause an accident. Some elderly people suddenly feel dizzy and fall to the ground when they get out of bed in the morning, which is a sign of cerebral hemorrhage. So high blood pressure is really not a digital disease. It is not as simple as saying I am 150/95 today, and I'll be fine tomorrow by taking a pill. It is a disease that slowly destroys your body, and ultimately destroys the brain, life, and the future. In addition to attacking the brain, what other chain reactions does high blood pressure have? This is also a point that many people tend to overlook. Heart damage. High blood pressure can lead to myocardial hypertrophy and eventually induce heart failure. High blood pressure is related to coronary heart disease, angina pectoris, and myocardial infarction. Kidney damage. The blood vessels in the kidneys are small and dense. Once high blood pressure rises, it is easy to cause glomerular sclerosis and develop into renal failure. Eye damage. High blood pressure may also cause retinal hemorrhage or retinal detachment, and in severe cases, blindness. Blood vessel system damage. High blood pressure can also easily cause aortic dissection, which is a serious disease that can kill instantly. You see, although high blood pressure is hidden deep, it is the destroyer of the entire vascular system, and it loves to sneak attack and destroy, and the brain is where it most often attacks. Don't ignore high blood pressure anymore, and don't expect it to pass by just carrying it off. Some people like to say, I had high blood pressure when I was young, and I was fine. My grandfather had high blood pressure until he was 80 years old, and nothing happened. But the reality is, not everyone has such good luck. The consequences of high blood pressure may not happen in 1 or 2 days, but as long as you don't control it for a long time, it will settle accounts with you sooner or later. Once it comes, it will be hemiplegia, aphasia, inability to take care of oneself, or even bid farewell to this world. No one can afford this price. So, remember this sentence: high blood pressure is not terrible. What is terrible is ignoring it. Next, we are going to talk about the 3 abnormal signals of the hands, which are the sentinels before many cerebral infarctions. Especially for people with high blood pressure, you must know and pay attention to it. People with high blood pressure should pay special attention and don't take minor problems as trivial matters. Many people think that cerebral infarction occurs suddenly overnight. But it is not. Before a really serious cerebral infarction, the body has already given you many signals. It's just that these signals are not painful and are hidden too cleverly, so they are easily ignored by us. Especially the fingers, which are the nerve terminals farthest from the heart and brain. Once there is a problem with the blood supply to the brain, the fingers are often the first to alarm. So if people with high blood pressure find these 3 abnormalities in their fingers, they must be careful and don't take old problems perfunctorily. The following 3 changes are all common sentinel signals before the onset of cerebral infarction. 1. Repeated numbness and tingling of fingers, with a feeling of ants crawling. This is the most common and most easily ignored symptom. Do you often have this feeling? Numbness in fingers, like static electricity, like being pricked by needles, or ants crawling? Especially at night or early morning, it suddenly becomes numb, and it is fine when you move. Many people will think it is cervical spondylosis or arm compression at first. In fact, this kind of unprovoked and repeated numbness of fingers may be caused by the blockage of small blood vessels in the brain. In many cases, cerebral infarction is not big blockage all at once, but slowly blocked bit by bit, starting with microvessels. When it is really blocked on a large scale, the person has been paralyzed and unable to speak, and the numbness of fingers is a signal that the brain's neural conduction system is affected. Especially for patients with hypertension, the inner wall of the blood vessels has hardened, the blood flow is slow, and blood clots are easy to form. Once a small blood clot runs to the brain, even if it is blocked for a few minutes, it will affect the brain's neural instructions to control the fingers, so the hands will be numb, stiff, or even one side will be weak. If you find it is not just a one-time numbness, but repeated numbness, not just one finger, but half of the palm or one arm is numb. When numb, it is accompanied by dizziness, blurred vision, and tinnitus, then you should go to the hospital for a brain examination as soon as possible. And don't wait until it is really too late to regret it. 2. Cold and purple fingers, and obvious deterioration of grip strength. Normal people's fingers are warm and strong, but if you recently found that your hands are always cold, especially the fingertips are purple and blue, and even the weather is not cold, they are icy, and you have no strength to hold things, it is likely a signal of insufficient blood supply to the brain plus peripheral circulation disorders. At this time, you should know that the problem is no longer as simple as a breeze, but that there is something wrong with the blood vessels in the body. Because of long-term high blood pressure, the blood vessels of patients with hypertension are like aging water pipes, which are easy to harden and narrow, and the resistance to blood flow increases. So the extremities naturally cannot be supplied with blood. If the brain is deprived of blood, the hands and feet will of course be cold, purple, and weak. Poor grip strength is a small detail that is most easily overlooked. You can do a simple test. Grab an apple and see if it becomes sore and weak after a while. Take a water bottle and twist the cap. Do you need to use more force than before? When writing and typing, you feel that your fingers are getting stiffer and tired after writing for a while. If this situation is accompanied by unsteady walking, dizziness, black eyes, and stumbling when talking, it is basically a chain reaction caused by insufficient blood supply to the brain, and it must not be delayed. 3. Fingers suddenly become uncontrollable and transient disorders occur. There is also a more serious signal. Fingers suddenly become uncontrollable. Maybe you are writing, cooking, or playing with your phone, and suddenly you feel you can't hold things steadily in your hand, and the chopstick slipped. One hand suddenly can't move for a few seconds. You want to stretch your hand, but you can't open it. If you have a history of high blood pressure, this transient hand disorder is very likely a transient ischemic ataxia. This symptom is very scary, commonly known as a mini stroke, and is a rehearsal before a major stroke. This transient ischemic attack usually eases on its own after a few minutes or tens of minutes. Many people think that it's okay, but in fact it is the body reminding you, the next time it will not be a rehearsal, but a real cerebral infarction or cerebral hemorrhage. Research data from the World Health Organization shows that about a third of patients with transient ischemic attacks TIA will suffer severe cerebral infarction within 90 days. Those who identify and intervene in advance can greatly reduce the risk of stroke. To sum it up in one sentence, the changes in fingers are not minor problems, but often a small reminder before a major illness. Especially for people with high blood pressure, the cerebral blood vessels have been quietly targeted. Once you find that your fingers are numb, cold, weak, or suddenly out of control, you must be vigilant. Don't wait for the body to show red lights before going for a checkup. In the last part, let's talk about how patients with high blood pressure can scientifically prevent cerebral infarction and cerebral hemorrhage. Stabilized blood pressure, and stay away from stroke. To understand your own body, don't gamble your life with your health. To stabilize blood pressure and guard the gate of life, it is enough to do these 7 points. After many people are entangled by high blood pressure, they live in fear. Fear of cerebral infarction, fear of cerebral hemorrhage, fear of dying before waking up in the morning, fear of children falling down before they grow up. Indeed, high blood pressure is like a time bomb. Once it explodes, it will cause hemiplegia at the mildest and death at the worst. But the good news is, high blood pressure is not a terminal illness. It is a chronic disease that can be controlled. As long as the method is right and the blood pressure is stabilized, the vascular system of the brain can operate safely, and the probability of major problems can be reduced by more than 70%. The following 7 points are the golden rules that doctors want you to follow the most, especially for those who already have mild symptoms. 1. Don't rely on feelings to measure blood pressure. Measure it once in the morning and evening every day. Many patients with hypertension think that they know their bodies, and they think their blood pressure is fine if they don't feel dizzy or have blurred vision. Wrong. The most terrible thing about high blood pressure is that it hurts you silently. When you really feel something is wrong, it is often already wrong. You must develop the habit of measuring once in the morning and once in the evening every day. Measure once within 30 minutes of getting up in the morning after going to the toilet. Don't rush to take medicine or eat breakfast. Measure again 1 hour before going to bed at night in a quiet state. Don't just finish watching an intense TV series. Only by long-term records can you see the trend, and the doctor can also have an accurate basis to help you adjust the plan. Don't think of yourself as a doctor. Don't judge blood pressure by feelings. 2. Antihypertensive drugs are not for taking for a while, but for long-term use. This is the most common mistake many people make. I took the medicine for a few days. My blood pressure returned to normal, and I stopped taking it. I am in good health. It's okay if I don't take it today. But did you know? The root of high blood pressure has not been removed. It is only temporarily controlled by drugs. Once the drug is stopped, blood pressure will rebound immediately, and it will be higher and more unstable than before. It's like plugging a water pipe with a cork. As soon as you let go, the water will spray out immediately. As soon as you relax, it will burst at the other end. So, once the doctor confirms that you need to take the medicine for a long time, you must take it on time and in the right amount. And you can't stop it casually. Some medicines are effective for 24 hours. If you don't take it in the morning, something might happen in the afternoon. 3. Control salt equals control life. If you eat too much salt, your blood pressure will never go down. You may not feel salty, but your blood pressure already knows it. Chinese people like strong flavors, but eating too much salt will cause water and sodium retention in the body, increased blood vessel pressure, and blood pressure will continue to rise like an inflated ball. Suggestions: no more than 5 grams of salt per day, about the amount of a beer bottle cap. Soy sauce, bean paste, pickles, pickled meat, instant noodle seasoning packets. These are all invisible salts. so eat less. Use more onions, ginger, garlic, balsamic vinegar, sesame oil and other seasonings, relying on fragrance instead of saltiness. If you eat less salt, it means loosening the ropes on your blood vessels and giving your brain a little more safety. 4. Don't make do with sleep. Poor sleep can't lower blood pressure at all. Many people's blood pressure is normal during the day, but it rises at night, and they sleep shallowly and irritably. This is because the brain needs to repair the system during sleep. Once you don't sleep well, the brain will continue to be excited. The sympathetic nerves will be excited, and blood pressure will not drop. If you have been sleeping less than 6 hours, always waking up in the middle of the night, feeling tired when you wake up, always dozing off during the day, it means that there is a big problem with your sleep quality. If you have a problem, you need to adjust it quickly. Suggestions: go to bed before 11 p.m. Turn off your phone 1 hour before going to bed. Don't watch news or watch videos. You can soak your feet and listen to light music to help you sleep. Consult a doctor to take sleeping pills when necessary, but don't take sleeping pills on your own. High-quality sleep is the key link to stabilizing blood pressure. 5. Emotional stability is the best blood pressure medicine. Have you found that the trigger of many cerebral infarctions and cerebral hemorrhages is not high blood pressure itself, but sudden anger, excitement, and anxiety? A quarrel started with a word, and anxiety over an incident caused the brain blood vessels to break directly. The greater the emotional fluctuations, the more active the sympathetic nerves, and the blood pressure will whoosh up like an elevator. Therefore, emotional management is more important than taking medicine. Suggestions: learn not to argue, and take a step back in everything. Talk more with people who make you feel at ease, and spend less time with people who like to stir up trouble. Take a deep breath for 10 seconds before something happens, and don't let your emotions get to you. Find an outlet to vent your emotions, such as taking a walk, writing a diary, cooking, growing flowers. A person with a peaceful heart will have a much more stable blood pressure. 6. Drink less, don't smoke, and get rid of the enemy of cerebrovascular disease. These 2 habits are what the brain hates the most. Cigarettes can cause blood vessels to contract and accelerate hardening. Alcohol can instantly increase blood pressure, and alcohol metabolism can also affect the efficacy of drugs. So you may feel that drinking a little alcohol relaxes you, but in fact your blood pressure is rising. Even a sip of white wine every day may be the fuse for your cerebrovascular explosion. Suggestions: quit smoking completely. Try not to touch alcohol, especially strong alcohol. If you must drink, limit it to no more than 1 or 2 glasses of red wine a week. Doctors recommend not drinking at all. 1 less drink, 1 less cigarette, 1 more life. 7. Move 4 times a week, 30 minutes each time. Walking is the best medicine. Stop lying down or sitting still all the time. The more blood vessels move, the smoother they are. The less you move, the easier it is to get blocked, especially for the veins of the lower limbs. If you sit still for a long time, blood clots are most likely to lurk in the legs and run to the brain at any time. Suggest you move at least 4 days a week. Exercise for no less than 30 minutes each time. Brisking, walking, cycling, swimming, square dancing are all okay. Don't be too intense, but sweat. If you are afraid of the sun, you can choose the morning or evening, or stretch or ride a bicycle indoors. Remember one sentence: moving is the bottom logic to fight against high blood pressure. Many people always think that high blood pressure is just a little high blood pressure, and it will pass if you endure it. In fact, it is the real culprit hiding behind cerebral infarction and cerebral hemorrhage. When blood pressure is high for a long time, the blood vessel walls will become thinner and harder like a riverbank washed by water for a long time, and finally it will be blocked or exploded. This is how most cerebral infarction and cerebral hemorrhage come from. Especially when you are emotionally excited, the temperature changes, or you exert too much force. High blood pressure is more likely to detonate a bomb and deal a fatal blow to the brain. Many people are fine in the last second, but fell to the ground in the next second and never woke up again. This is how it comes from. More importantly, high blood pressure often has no symptoms. It will not remind you, but quietly destroy your body. When you feel dizzy, numb hands, and slurred speech, it is often too late. Therefore, to prevent cerebral infarction and stroke, you must first stabilize blood pressure. The method is actually not difficult. Measure blood pressure every day and know it well. Take medicine regularly, and never stop or reduce the medication without authorization. Eat a light diet, and salt control is the key. Keep your emotions stable. Don't get angry or excited. Sleep regularly, don't stay up late. Don't be anxious. Quitting smoking and limiting alcohol. Walk more and exercise more. Remember one thing, high blood pressure is not scary. What is scary is that you don't take it seriously. In the final analysis, cerebral infarction and cerebral hemorrhage are the result of quietly lurking, and high blood pressure is the mastermind behind the scenes. Don't take it lightly anymore, and don't expect to get through it by bearing it. Measure blood pressure every day. Take medicine on time. Control your emotions. Control your mouth, and move your legs more. If you spend a little more time on this today, you can spend 10 times less in the hospital tomorrow. Your body is your own, and your life is your own. I hope that from today on, you will no longer let high blood pressure control your life. It's never too late to start paying attention now.